Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I want to talk about depression, how I handled it, how I go around it, how I do it, how I've done it. Because people handle it very differently to how you would handle it. I come from a background of where my mother suffered badly with depression, and in a roundabout way I suppose I've learned from what my mother did. But first, before I go into that, let me show you where I am again. So this is the back end of Malaga in the middle of nowhere, and all this is sea defence. Sea defence as far as you can see. Okay, now this is generally where druggies, down and out, people with problems, they all come round here, and I've seen quite a lot of them. There's a lot of homeless people further on down. I see quite a few of the solitary fishermen. You know, people like, I've got a neighbour in the UK who's a keen fisherman, avid fisherman. He'd probably be on a rock like this because that's how mad they are. But you know, they leave themselves to themselves, and generally you don't really get any problems. You know, there's spray paint all over the place, but that's life. Now, depression. I really struggled with this one, and in fact, in a couple of videos before, I let it out that actually I struggled with suicide. Really struggled with it, and actually that ends up coming from this. So depression for me, it didn't happen in the beginning. You know, like I said, my mother struggled with it for years and years, and she was on happy pills for a long time. For me, and in a roundabout way, I sort of learned, you know, and saw, and I suppose got brought up with it, you know, and for me, my mum smoked. Everyone in my family smoked. I didn't. You know, they all did different things. I didn't. I was just me doing me, and wasn't interested. But she did the happy pills, and in a roundabout way I learned, you know, because they always say you learn off your parents' mistakes, you learn off your elders' mistakes, and for me I think that was a mistake, because after my mum finished being on the happy pills, she was a completely different person. But I watched everything, you know, because kids, they take it in and it never goes back out, it's there forever. So for me, I struggled with it. In the beginning, it was all right. You know, I got diagnosed with cancer, but you haven't got enough time to be thinking about, am I depressed? Am I this? Am I that? Am I going to kill myself? All the rest of it. You're too busy trying to wonder whether it's what's next, what we're doing now, where we're going, what biopsy we're going to have. Am I going to have chemo? Am I not? Are you just going to leave me to die in the room? All the rest of it. So for me, it wasn't a bother. 2 years later, I think, maybe two and a half years later, halfway into after chemotherapy, is when I started to struggle with depression. You know, people deal with depression very differently. For instance, me, I just didn't do nothing. I couldn't be bothered to go to the gym. I know I go to the gym a lot. I love the gym. You know, I only do my boxing stuff. I'm not a weightlifter. I'm not into it. But each their own. That's what they do. I do what I do. And I couldn't be bothered with it. I changed my diet. I couldn't be bothered eating clean and, you know, drinking loads of water. I stopped. And it was just mental, because eating rubbish food is full of unnatural sugar. It's full of saturated fats, which is two big contributing factors to tumours. You know, they feed the tumours, and my tumours haven't gone, they're still there. It's just that the chemotherapy shrunk them to a point where I can work, I can live, you know, my body will function. So, and I was feeding my tumours. Now, with my study, because I do quite a lot of study, I keep saying, I know that if you eat clean, I know that if you drink a lot of water, I know that if you just live life clean, tumours won't grow. They can't. There's nothing to feed them. Well, mine anyway. Mine, hopefully they haven't. This is what I'm working on. You know, I might be wrong, but I feel great now. So the depression side, and I stopped eating it, and I was going into myself, and I was being really mean to to my wife and my boy, really. Not nasty, not aggressively, not awful, just abrupt. Like I said before, just being abrupt. I hadn't got time for people. Really, I haven't got time for people. I mean, there's going to be people on here that will probably relate to this, and me, you know, just being horrible to them and just whatever, mate. Just walk off. You know, I can't be bothered. And for me, I went to the doctors. Went with my wife, and the doctor actually diagnosed me with PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, which is what the soldiers get after being, you know, on the battlefield and stuff like that. Well, actually, after cancer and chemotherapy, it's equal. It's very normal to have and be diagnosed with this very syndrome. And they wanted to put me on a big course of happy pills, if you like. You know, the same stuff that everybody else gets. Now, for me, I questioned the doctor at the time, and I said, look, you know, how long does it take to get in your system? And they said up to 6 months. Right, okay. How long have I got to be on them? Well, forever. Well, I don't want to be on tablets forever. I've just come through all this. I don't want anything else. Well, no, that's, you know, if you're going to get better, that's what you've got to do. But I just, nah, you're all right, thanks, doc. Leave it at that. They ripped the prescription out for me anyway, but I didn't use it. I ripped it up, threw it away. As with other prescriptions I've had in the last few years, I've thrown them away too, because I don't want to put any more chemicals in my body. So I had to deal with that in a slightly different way. Now, it took me a time, because as I said in 2 videos before about the suicide thing, I actually ended up there. And it's not a nice place to be, because you just get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And there's no help, really. I mean, there was help, you know, forgive me, there are people out there that help. I didn't think anybody could help me. I didn't think anybody could sort my nugging out, if you like. So for me, I needed to deal with it in a different way. So how I dealt with it was stupidly, you know, and I should have took the advice of people. How I dealt with it was to fight it head on, but I was losing. I was losing all the time, and I was getting deeper and deeper in depression. You know, to the point where I had that hose pipe wrapped around a tree, and I was, you know, 2 minutes away from putting it around my neck and just jumping. Luckily, you know, there was something in my head that told me no, don't do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't be here today. I'd rather let nature take its course if it's going to happen. So, and that was the battle for me. You know, I learned the hard way, and all I would say to everybody else is don't let it get you. Don't let it get you. Go and get help straight away. There's so many counselling. I mean, I did go to counselling. I did a couple of bouts of counselling. For me personally, it didn't work. It didn't work because, well, it was nothing. I was just talking to them. They were listening to a few things, writing a few things down. I asked them what they wrote down, and it just didn't make any sense. And they got paid a lot of money to do it. And for me, you know, I'm a bit rubbish like that. So I tackled it in a different way. But I wouldn't suggest people to do that, because you get so deep that you do end up doing something stupid. For instance, you know, like I said, it happened a couple of times with me, you know. And the very last time was the last time when I said, for God's sake, what a moron. And you know, it was a proper eye-opener, you know. And luckily I didn't, and I'm still here with my wife and my son. But depression is a nasty thing. You know, I know of people that are on the so-called happy pills, and you know, it works for them. Well, the bit that I question is, when you're on these happy pills, you take these happy pills because they're drugs, essentially. You're a junkie, really. It sounds like you're medicated, and you are medicated with these. You are prescribed these. But essentially, you're the same as the junkie. It's just that you don't have to go finding the money to take them. Pretty much. For me, you have a come down. Now, opiates have always got to come down. And that's what they are, they're opiates. You know, drugs have got to come down. And once you've taken the happy pill, what happens when you hit the come down? There's got to be something to replace it, because that state of mind is going to come back 10 times worse. Now, I know of a few people, and they'll have a couple of pints, they'll have a couple of glasses of wine, and that couple of glasses of wine, a couple of pints leads to more until they're absolutely bladdered, and then they're in the same boat. Then the morning after, take happy pills, eat rubbish food, and it's just a rolling circle. And you just get worse and worse and worse, and there's no way out. There's nothing that makes you feel better. Me, what I say to everybody is get off the damn things, because in my opinion, you're just relying on drugs to make you feel happy for a couple of hours. Get off the drugs, go through the hard bit, have the counselling, have the help that's out there without taking the drugs, and you'll see after a period of time where you change. You'll see, if you can get into your head, I'm going to change my diet, because that's a lot of it as well. You know, diet is a massive factor towards it. For instance, if you go out and eat a huge McDonald's meal with a huge milkshake and massive Coke and all the rest of it, you're full of all this sugar and all this nonsense. You're on a, you know, I suppose you're tripping on sugar for a bit, and that, along with your happy pills, you feel great. But actually you feel slow, lethargic and rubbish, because you've just eaten all this junk food and this rubbish. You've got your happy pill, you're starting to come down. It's a whole circle. When you think about it, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? Diet, you know, for me, I've been trialing a few things. Actually, I said in a couple of videos, I think I'm turning a corner. I'm about to turn that corner, I think. I think I'm really chuffing myself. I've changed a lot of things, so I would suggest changing your diet is one of the, you know, for depression. You know, it sounds corny, I know it does, and people that are suffering depression that might be watching this, or hopefully they will watch this, might say, well, what's the matter with you? How can food change your way of thinking? Well, I don't know, but if you eat a McDonald's every day, it's the same shit. It's the same amount of sugar, same amount of saturates. Go and have a steak and a piece of broccoli. The day after, have a potato and some, you know, a piece of chicken. If you don't eat meat, eat a lot of corn. I don't know. Change your way of diet, change your way of thinking. Stop drinking, maybe stop drinking. You know, I stopped drinking because that's a personal choice. I don't want to put that back in my blood, because that's just me. And I feel great. You know, I'm going to go and have a coffee after I've done this, and a big glass of water. I mean, where are we now? What time are we now? We're about lunchtime now in Spain. Yeah, lunchtime now in Spain. I've already drunk 3 litres of water this morning. Oops. Messed about with that then, didn't I? I've already drunken 3 litres of water this morning, along with 4 eggs and a few other bits and bobs. But I went to the gym last night, and I'm starving today. That's what happens when you do a big session. You're really hungry the day after. So changing your diet, you know, eat more protein-based foods, eat less saturated foods, eat less sugary foods, eat less fatty foods. You know, people say, I can't eat that steak, it's got a massive bit of fat around it. Natural fat isn't fattening. It just isn't. I mean, if that's all you ate, yeah, it is. But actually natural fat isn't fattening in proportion. Saturated fat is fattening. I mean, I only have to sniff the damn stuff, and I'm 50 kilos heavier than I was the day before. Unnatural stuff is always unnatural, and it's not good for your body. It's not meant to be there. That's just fact. So change your diet. Try and set yourself a target like I did. Try and say to yourself, you know, I'm going to go and get this help. I'm going to go and see these people, and I'm going to make sure they get me fixed. If you choose the drugs method from the doctor, great. You know, if it works for you, it works for you. Brilliant. I don't suggest it. I never would, because I don't think it's right. But don't let yourself get deeper into it. And it's very easy to get deeper into it because you just sit, lounge around, watch TV, and that's it. Don't get me wrong, you know, I still worked. You know, I went out and I worked. When you're suffering with depression, you don't generally let the outside world know too much. You know, I've already said before, I don't tell enough people what's going on in here. I'm letting it out now. I mean, it helps. This is my therapy. But you know, when you go out, you don't tell people, you don't see, people don't see, people don't know. Then you go home and that's it. You're depressed again. Maybe it's where, for me, I didn't like where I got ill in the UK. You know, my house in the UK, hate it. And that's not because it's not a nice place, it's because I've got bad memories and I don't feel right being there. So maybe change where you are or where you live or something like that. I don't know, you know, it's all ad hoc this. I don't script any of this. It's just, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, think of solutions and suggestions, you know, things that I've done have worked for me. So, you know, I'm rambling on a bit now, but basically in a nutshell, depression, don't let it get to you. Just get out there and go and see the professionals, see them, see what they say. You know, if you can stay off the happy pills, brilliant. If you can't, well done, you know, as long as it works for you. Oh, I can hear somebody up there. So listen, stay lucky. See you again tomorrow. Sorry about rambling on a little bit too long, but it is what it is. Listen, like, comment and subscribe. Share it to others. You know, I've had somebody already ask me about the suicide one, if they could use it. If you want to use my videos, use them. I'm not bothered. There's no copyright material for me. I couldn't give a monkeys. So listen, like, comment, share, subscribe, do your thing, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.